everyone. This is Michelle Gramoglia, the President and CEO here at Woodland Pond, and this is my weekly address for a Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, March 24th, 2026. I have a good variety today of items for my address and also a bunch of things that came from both the rumor mill and the suggestion box, although there is certainly a theme. I may not go through all of them because 90% of them are on the same topic, which is actually a rather innocuous one, which I'm pleased about. But let's hop into some of the items for the address in general. I'd like to start by congratulating and pointing everyone to the amazing amount of progress that is happening on campus now in terms of bringing our construction vertical. And that's a phrase that you may or may not be familiar with. But basically, it's sort of the casual phrase that we use for what we talk about once our foundations are poured, once the slabs are there, and really starting to frame all of the construction of the actual buildings and additions. You can see a lot of that happening right now. If you look out any of the windows in front of the library or by the administrative offices, or if you look out by the south wing, you're seeing a lot of metal being erected. You're going to see a lot more happening in the next several weeks. Dave did take me on a behind the scenes tour today, and there's just an enormous amount of work going on. Offices are being framed out. There is sheetrock going up in many of the places in the health and wellness wing. Marketing is moving right along. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that the weather gods stay in our favor. And we, as Dave announced last Friday, Wilson is bringing in a second crew to try to accelerate some of this on the lost time that we had from the winter, particularly related to the Performing Arts Center. So we should be really starting to cook with grease here, and I hope everyone's enjoying the visuals every day. Woodland Pond is going to be making a migration from using Zoom technology to Microsoft Teams officially by May 31st. This may not seem like a significant issue, and we're hoping that it is not going to become a significant issue, but for a variety of reasons, one of which is security, another very important one of which is moving to one single primary system for our internal and external communication. We are going to be sunsetting Zoom. And what that means is that if you are going to participate in Woodland Pond remote electronic activities on video, so whether it's Zooming into the Residence Council meeting or a family council meeting, a care plan meeting, a telemed, everything, all of the invitations that you receive from us between now and May 31st are all going to start to migrate from Zoom to Microsoft Teams. We want to give it the full 60 days because we want to make sure that there are any kinks in terms of our live streams, any of these by invite appointments, that everything gets completely worked out before we completely eliminate our Zoom accounts. So you will see some transitions. You will see new invitations that come through. This heavily impacts certainly health center families that join us remotely for either telemed or care plan meetings, etc. You do not need to have a Microsoft Teams account in order to participate in these. You can just load the link right into your browser. It's very straightforward. It's just like Zoom. There's no cost to it if you go with just the basic account, but it streamlines things and it adds more security to the Woodland Pond network and the way that we're communicating with you. So I'm bringing that up just as a heads up, and we will help you troubleshoot this over the next 60 days, but wanted to mention that we are going to be making that transition actively and with intention. I would like to make a couple of personnel announcements. Effective today, Lindsay Marcus, who has historically held an executive coordinator role, executive assistant role more generally, will be keeping some of those responsibilities as well as her board liaison responsibilities, but she's effectively, as of today, the manager for the resident life department. So she is officially Jason's number 2. And what that is going to look like is that all of the front desk staff, security staff, drivers, the resident life assistants that you see doing all the logistics, they will report directly to Lindsay. Jason will keep the direct reporting relationship with the activities department, fitness, etc. But Lindsay's really going to help to streamline and make more uniform the oversight of all of that, front desk staff, the drivers, all of the busy bees that are kind of going all around. It's a huge job. There's no one better for it. So congratulations to Lindsay on that. We look forward to seeing that be very successful. We have hired a controller as part of our succession planning for finance. Some of you are aware, we've announced this in different settings, that Christy Battistoni, our Director of Finance, will be moving into semi-retirement starting sometime in the fall. And because of the great deal of work that goes along with that position, and the fact that I'm currently the backup on the financial statements, which is not a great plan, we knew that we needed to get someone in sooner than later. We found a fantastic candidate. I went through this in the management Q&A last week, so I don't need to go through it again, but he's got a great skill set, very strong on the finance side, has existing CCRC clients in his current role as a financial statement auditor. I think it's going to be a great fit. His name is Ben, and he and Christy have he's going to be starting, I think, in the next couple of days or Monday. Just depends on how quickly he gets through HR. But Christy and Ben actually have a new temporary office, which is carved out of the great room. So the primary contacts for the business office for billing are still in the same location, but Christy and Ben are officially in office space in the far side of the great room until they can get back into their permanent offices. Same phone number for Christy. Ben's phone number will be announced and added to the phone list. Couple of items that Res Life department has asked me to provide updates and information on. You will be getting a survey related specifically to fitness and questions related to our guest lecture or our invited speaker series. This is all coming out of Res Life, interest in activities and fitness and so forth. That will be coming out by the end of this week. If you could please look in your email for that, it will come through Constant Contact and it will be a SurveyMonkey survey. We are really trying to be as responsive as possible, bring in all of the things that you are interested in and eliminate the things that maybe aren't working so well. And please do look for that survey and take the 5 or 10 minutes that it takes to fill that out. Another meeting or survey kind of interest information item to mention. Dave announced last week, both in management Q&A and on his address, that for some logistical reasons, we have jointly agreed with Wolson, our construction manager, to push the turnover of the first entire round of classroom marketing and the first rounds of wellness, including the pool and the gymnasium, to June 15th, so that everything comes online at the same time, so that we're not dealing with a new set of temporary walls, which was originally considered, a couple of long lead items from a manufacturing perspective. But what that does have a specific impact on is the availability of the pool. Everything else will remain intact and available to you as we're doing it now. But the pool closes once school ends for the semester, and that is May 8th. So that is the last day that we will have the pool at SUNY New Paltz. Jason has identified a couple of alternatives and would like to get a meeting of the swimmers together next week. He will put out information about when that will be to talk about the options and to give the residents the choice as to continue at a alternate location between May 8th and June 15th. It will be your choice. He's going to let you know what your options are. He's working through a couple of others, and we don't have a meeting time or date for that yet, but I'm just mentioning it so that it's on your radar. I would like everyone to please help with vehicle check-ins. It's a clumsy phrase, but we're now hitting the spring, and with the spring comes a couple of things related to vehicles, and we see it every year. Many of you don't drive at all in the winter. It is a really, really good time this week. I think today is going to be somewhere around the 40 degrees, tomorrow in the 50s. Please try to get out to your vehicle. Get outside, go to your vehicle, and please try to start it. Let it run for a bit. driving around on campus, make sure that all of your tires have air in them, nothing looks like it's amiss, and then at least start the car at a minimum, and preferably if you haven't driven it, do a loop around the property or go out around North Putt and into the neighborhood. We want to make sure that your cars are running and anybody that needs service gets attended to. Also very important to this, and this is a very significant security aspect of things that we're looking at right now. For the last several weeks on and off, we have been having our overnight security guards, of which we have 3 every night, doing rounding in our parking lots to identify and send to Jason and concierge a list of any vehicles that are in our parking lots at night that have no Woodland Pond stickers on them. And the thought process behind that is that at nighttime, they work from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Generally speaking, most of you don't have overnight guests. And if they do, they should be parking in guest parking. But the thought process is by rounding through the parking lots and identifying any vehicles at that hour that don't have a Woodland Pond resident sticker or a Woodland Pond staff sticker, that we need to make sure that you have them. Several of you, we have your license plates on file, but your stickers seem to be missing. So I'm not sure where they are in the car or if they've fallen off. But what we need you to do, whether you're a staff member or a resident, is to go look at your vehicle, walk all the way around it, and make sure that you have a Woodland Pond parking sticker. If you do not, you need to go to concierge and let them know that. And you need to let them know if you had one and you lost it, you can't remember, or you need a new one. When you do that, please make sure that you write down and bring to them your license plate number and the make and model of your vehicle. And then that way we can make sure that our records are up to date. We want to make sure that everyone that's here at night is supposed to be here. So everyone at night should either be parked in guest parking or should have a resident or staff sticker. Security is very important to us, and we need your help with that. One late breaking news, because spring break is happening at SUNY New Paltz next week, there will be no swimming from this Friday, the 27th, through April 3rd. So swimming will resume after Thursday. So Thursday is the last day of swimming this week. It will resume on April 6th when SUNY New Paltz is back in session from spring break. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all different varieties of styles and handwriting and emails and all kinds of things, items in the rumor mill or suggestion box, I'm never really sure which, that all relate to one topic. So I'm going to talk about that here. For the last several years, Woodland Pond has participated in the New Paltz Regatta on the Walkhill, and it's a really fun opportunity. Lots of different organizations and groups in New Paltz get together and make a homemade boat of some sort and then sail them down the Walkhill River. There's a starting point and there's an ending point. And for years, Woodland Pond has participated in this, sometimes successfully and sometimes not so successfully. And if you would like to hear about the not so successfully, although it was a very valiant effort, last year's proved to be less than seaworthy, at least partially. So we're looking to redeem ourselves this year. And the questions all came up because I think somehow at Men's Coffee or something on Saturday, it seems like there was a miscommunication about whether or not Woodland Pond would endorse the idea of residents yet again entering a boat into the regatta. So the way this works is it's typically, I think, a bunch of residents that work in the wood shop or otherwise like to tinker and create things that make the Woodland Pond entry into the sailing regatta. Woodland Pond itself is not typically super involved unless that group comes to Tom Tango and asks for a, hey, do you happen to have any extra flotation devices or whatever it is. But generally speaking, this is a completely resident run activity and has been. Woodland Pond completely supports the participation in the regatta and are more than happy to participate in the same way that we have in the past. You need something, you go to Tom Tango, he says, yes, I can help, no, I can't, etc. The issue that we're having is space. And so it sounds like there was some miscommunication about the fact that we have had to place limits on our space availability, obviously, for a variety of reasons. And somehow that getting turned into Woodland Pond doesn't support the regatta or the entry. So I want to clear that up right now. Woodland Pond 1000% support making a boat in the regatta. We hope that this is a tradition that lasts for decades. And we're happy to help in the same way that we have in the past. What we need to work through is, are we going to be able to provide space in the same way that it's been provided in the past? And the answer to that right now is still, we don't know. It all is going to depend on how much space is needed, what time frame is needed for the space, and what are we thinking about, location wise, because the space that was used last year is different than it's been used in the past. It's been kind of a different process every year. The space that was used last year is going to become completely unavailable because of pending renovations in the near term. So we are going to be looking for flexibility from the group. We are going to do our absolute darndest to provide space, but it's very likely not going to look like what it's looked like in the past. And so as long as everyone can be flexible with what we can offer, I'm positive we can find success, but we are asking for flexibility. Cameron Reale, who is our Chief Operating Officer, is the point person on this. And the regatta is in June, so we have some time here. I understand that folks are anxious to get an answer on this, but there are a lot of moving parts, and we need to make sure that we're all on the same page. I know we're in the process of collecting some information from the residents that are involved to make sure that we can accommodate and meet what you're looking for. But the most important thing is flexibility and respecting and understanding that we have a lot of moving parts that you may not be aware of. So making sure that that communication is happening directly with management and not through the rumor mill or grapevine. Tom is the manager on duty this weekend, and so I'm sure that he will be planning to attend the men's coffee. And that's another great way to get direct information rather than letting things run through the rumor mill. Always ask. Let's do that. Let's always ask. The last item that was in the box today, one says, please do not get rid of the cubbies, and please do not close George Danskin Way to through traffic. Unfortunately, this person is going to be disappointed because both of those things are not happening. So we are not putting the individual cubbies back. That's been discussed kind of ad nauseum. I know that there are some people that are still hearing this as if this is new, so I'm happy to explore that some more. But the individual cubbies are not going in the mailroom. There simply is not space, and nor do they really get utilized in any kind of a consistent manner. I implore folks to go actually look at the mail cubbies on any particular day, and you will see that most likely 30+% of them have last week's Chanticleer in it as of today of Tuesday. A handful might have a greeting card in it, but most of the items that are going in there are not specific to specific individuals. They are copies of things that we will make available in hard copy in a different format, just not in the individual cubbies. But the postmaster there was just absolutely no way that we could accommodate them with the new ADA requirements that are in effect for the Postal Service. So if you still have a specific need or a specific concern about the cubbies that you feel is not going to be accomplished by us making those items available to you in hard copy format, or giving you the opportunity to, present a greeting card in a different location, please send me an email. I'm interested to hear the exact issues and concerns. I very much want to make sure that we are contemplating those things and accommodating for them, and I believe that our plans do that adequately. But do send me specific concerns, specific emails, or drop me a line and we can talk about that. In terms of George Danskin Way, this is probably the number one issue that the local neighbors are concerned about. And we do not need to leave that road open for secondary access. We have cleared this with the fire department, the ambulance company, the police department, the highway department, and our attorneys are in the process of working through right now what it will require for us to reduce George Danskin Way to a narrower road, create more grassy space, create a dedicated pedestrian and bike lane. Again, we talked about this at length at Management Q&A last week. but that the new road would be accessible for emergency vehicles and closed to through traffic. This does an enormous amount for the goodwill with our neighbors because they absolutely hate the traffic that comes through there. Admittedly, because there are no speed bumps, there's no lane marking, very few stop signs. Residents and staff and visitors alike tend to come through that neighborhood very, very fast. And I can certainly understand the concerns of the neighbors in terms of wanting to see that traffic be reduced. And in this case, theoretically outright eliminated unless we have an absolute emergency where a second entrance is needed for emergency access. So again, to this point, we again talked about it. We took questions last week at management Q&A. I think we cleared up very clearly that emergency access will come through there without a problem. And there will be a dedicated paved, as far as I know, at least that's the plan. If not paved, then certainly gravel, dedicated pedestrian pathway to get into the Lent Farm subdivision from Woodland Pond. It won't just be you walk on the grassy shoulder. So if you do have specific concerns about this, this would be great to bring to Dave Roberts or the Woodland Pond Logistics Committee. I know they meet typically every Friday, and they're bringing all of the resident concerns related to the project to Dave Roberts. But you can certainly go to Dave individually too. And again, similar to the Cubbies, if there's a specific issue or problem that we're trying to solve for in your mind by asking that we don't close that road, please do be specific. We want to make sure that if there's something you're thinking of that we haven't thought of, that we're incorporating it into the plans. So do try to be as specific as possible when you're providing this feedback, so we can be making sure we're thinking about the potential issues and concerns. That's all that I have for today. I hope you have a great day, and I will see everyone next Tuesday. Thank you.